While running, the name Rodney Harris popped into my head. Who is Rodney Harris?
Rodney Harris. Hi, that's me. I am a musician slash IT professional slash husband slash event coordinator slash agriculture specialist, however you want to look at it. But basically, I got into music around 9 years old through the church. My father sent me to music lessons, and then I developed in Nazarene church and then worked my way through, eventually playing on jazz festivals, various concerts. My passion led me to doing a degree in music. Unfortunately, I have not finished as yet, but I am 95% there. All right. So I've played with the National Orchestra, I've played with Destra for a while in the soca industry. I've been out on the cruise ship for a number of years. I've played with many types of bands, whether it's reggae, soca, calypso orchestras, jazz, R&B. So I've been around a while, but you know how the old people used to say you have to get a good education. So I also did my studies in the field of computer science and cybersecurity. So I'm also a professional working in the private sector as a system analyst. So I have two lives, by day I'm the IT geek, and by night I'm the on stage performing musician. So that is me in a nutshell.
So tell me something. Why aren't you fully a musician?
I would love to be fully a musician, but that comes with sacrifices, especially in Trinidad. Uh, my heart has always been music, but the music industry in Trinidad, while thriving somewhat, it's still very restrictive in terms of living a decent life, or I should say, earning a decent wage without having to do too much. There was a period in time while playing with a few or four other bands, I was able to earn a decent salary or a decent wage. I could have lived comfortably, but one, it's not secure. Two, it's seasonal. Three, I remember there was an SOE, and the first thing to get cut will obviously be linemen in the night. So there were no parties, no events, and that was it. And so it's kind of difficult to live a decent life and maintain a consistent salary while doing music. So I have chosen to live the hybrid where I have the consistency of the day job, but I don't want to call it a hobby. I am still able to perform and follow my dreams and my passion by playing music on various stages in the night or on weekends.
You talked about cruise ships. Tell us about your experiences on cruise ships.
It's an amazing experience, especially for the younger musician. On the cruise ship, I was able to interact with musicians from across the world, which was very inspiring. You could learn performance techniques, you could just listen to their stories. It builds you and grows you as a musician. Also, you're able to save because you don't have to worry about rent, you don't have to worry about food, you don't have to worry about much. And the salary, again, comparable to in Trinidad, it's three, four times over what the average musician would make. So you're able to save, able to grow, able to practice. A lot of time spent on the cruise ship, you're relaxing, but you're going to work for about 2 to 3 hours a day. So you have all the rest of the day to continue your studies. As a testament, I did my master's while on two contracts on a cruise. All right, because the internet is good. I had a lot of time, and there's no reason why somebody can't develop out there. I would say it's a great experience for the young musician who wants to develop, who wants to grow his skills, who wants to widen his range in terms of performance. It comes with its restrictions, like you're going to be away from family for a while, you're going to miss some important events, but we have video calls just like we do now. So I would say, young, get out there, save some money, invest in yourself, invest in your talent, grow yourself. And when you come back home, at least you will have some capital to start a project that you would want and you'll be ready.
So, what do you think is the biggest challenging facing our musicians? Because there are so many of them who are abroad, who are working on cruise ships?
Why aren't they back home? That's an interesting question. I have some friends who left. An easy answer is opportunity. Abroad, they have a lot more opportunity to play. In terms of live music events, abroad, there's a lot more opportunity for income and remuneration in terms of selling CDs and albums. The market for, let's say, let's look at a genre like jazz. That's a very niche market, and not everybody appreciates jazz. But out there, when you have 400 million people in North America, even if 5% like jazz, you still have a big number. So it's easier to grow, to make sales, to build a name out there than in Trinidad. The live circuit in Trinidad is present, but it's, as I say, very limited, very restrictive. We have very few live music places available or in easy access for the average musician. I know there are big halls like Queen's Hall, Central Bank Auditorium, Napa, Sapa, but these come with a cost. And to put on an event there, you have to get sponsorship. And then on the smaller side, there are some pubs and casinos, but that's not where a musician wishes to really get out his art form. When you go there, you have to sing pop music, you have to sing standards, soca songs that are out there because you're just there to entertain. But you're not able to really express who you want to be. One or two other live music event areas. The only one that I know off the top of my head is Cafe Blue. And Carl has a wonderful setup there. He's been running for many years, and that has been very successful. I want to applaud Carl because he has given a lot of musicians an opportunity, a platform where they could express themselves and perform. And as the trees say, he don't bust price on you. You know, he's very fair, and I appreciate that. But a top playing musician, what can they do? They can play in the service bands if you really want to express yourself. In fact, to get in the service bands, you have to be a certain age, and then again, that's limited. Outside of that, there's the education system, and some great musicians are not necessarily came from out of the school system. They learn, they practice, they are super talented, might be able to read music, but you put them on a stage or on a stand and they will blow you out of the way. So the education system, again, without getting a degree, as I say, just like me, still trying to finish mine, it's also prohibitive to some degree. So when you take all these factors inside, where are they going to perform? Where are they going to work? How much money they're really going to get? It makes more sense to fight up in a larger space where there are much more opportunities.
What you are saying, it sounds as if our future music is almost non-existent. Is that what you're saying?
No, I wouldn't say it's non-existent. There is some room, but we have to understand we live on an island of 1.4, 1.5 million people. We are generally a soca country. You know what I mean? Soca calypso. Of course, we love reggae and other genres, but we're mainly that. And some people might argue that soca it's great music, but for a musician who is very skilled and want to express himself, soca instead the genre is very restrictive. It's lovely rhythm, syncopation, the lyrics, the calypsos, the double entendre, all of it is culturally rich. But for somebody who grew up playing classical, I'm a pianist, so you see my fingers doing this a lot. Classical music, jazz. We have little seasonal jazz festivals. It's kind of difficult to play. I won't say it's dead. There is room because we have all these great halls that Queen's Hall is usually pretty much booked out. But there's a lot of theater, drama, comedy, a lot of other shows in there. But we have these great halls that are restrictive because of cost. And venue is kind of big too. If I join a show and I know I could pull 150 people and I put them in Napa, it will feel so empty. You know, you're playing to so many empty chairs. So I won't say there's no future, but we I see a disparity of the ones who could make it. So I'll use Marshall as an example. I love the guy. What he's doing, he inspires me. He went to Tiny Desk, and all of a sudden, I think all the musicians around me want to achieve going to Tiny Desk too. When it comes to motivation and see his movies, music, investments into clothing and alcohol, like he really is pushing us forward. But not everybody can be a Marshall, and it's not easy to get into where he is. He started from young. Not everybody had an opportunity, and he had great people around him. His mom was a great help, and he's just very professional. So it's hard for everybody to reach that level to throw these big shows that do as successful way. But I know that Trinidad still has the ability to grow musically. The school system, I've heard teachers complain that some of the schools don't want to invest money in the music department. When it comes to science and computers and everything else, they get money. When it comes to music, they're playing steel pans from 1974. If state, the administrators, the high ups really start to invest from the educational level, from helping the musician on the street to have venues that they could perform that's fair. Nobody asking for freebies. You understand? Because I know it's going to be a burden for entertainment, but at the same time, music is part of our culture. Music is so suited. Music is entertainment. Without music, I don't think there's life. Music is life. So as much as it's not revenue earning, or it doesn't generate that much revenue, it's still a very important aspect of life. And I wouldn't say it's dead. It just needs, I don't want to say new administration either, but just to finish off that point, when the great Patrick, the past Patrick Manning was in power, his initiative with the Divine Echoes, the Prime Minister Orchestra, building these performance centers, I think he was on the right track. He was getting there. He was creating spaces where young people could now get into music, and it's not something, it's not a hobby. It's actually something that could become a career.
If we can go back to creating opportunities for young people to perform, then we provide them with something that could make a difference. What advice do you have for young people whose interest is music?
I would say pick up the instrument, find avenues to play. Music is wonderful. If you go to a church, most churches would gladly take a young person who wants to play music. If you could save up and get a little instrument, uh, do it, because music, other than the ability to, play and express yourself, it opens up a certain aspect of your brain, I believe, a creative side. You get to express. It also comes in very handy in making a little extra dollar or two in the go season kind of times, you know. And it's I've heard the science says that it helps develop the brain, so it's not something to take lightly. Save up, get the instrument, use the University of YouTube to learn to build yourself. Play as much as you can. Never forget music. Music will always come in handy later on. For those who are a bit more into it, again, I would say go and get the formal training. Not everybody is suited to go to university or have the time to go to university and do a whole degree, but there are these Royal School of Musical courses, so you get in. Because I see there are many shows that I go on, and even though the musicians could play, it's hard for me to communicate with the next guy because he doesn't understand the language. Or I say, okay, instead of this one, play a minor chord here or a diminished seventh. And if you don't know it, no, it becomes difficult. So if you want to be able to communicate well, you have to be able to speak the language. Now, reading music, a lot of musicians say, "Nah, I don't need to read," because they choose to use the air. But there are gigs. I'll give an example. I got a call day before yesterday to play in the Carnival Village yesterday, which was the following day. I got this call, no rehearsal, play. In fact, on the stage, people were just bringing the music. And it was a wonderful experience. And it's not something I would have gotten if I couldn't read. So reading helps. I would say develop the talent, develop the theory. And for those who really want to do it, go on a little cruise ship, man. Take a few contracts, make some money, and learn, because you learn a lot of different styles out there too. I would not have got to learn like country music. It's not something I would play in Trinidad, but out there I was forced to learn certain country songs, for certain classical songs, and so it built my skill. So now if somebody asks me to play a country song, I can give it a more authentic feel than uh, what I would have tried otherwise. So I would say do the practical, but do the theory.
Yes. So tell me, how many different kinds of music you can play?
I think, especially being on a cruise ship, I could play almost anything under the sun. How well I could play is a different story. But in school, I would have done classical. In church, I would have done gospel, which is broad. And then many different types of jazz. I went Cuba for a couple of weeks with the orchestra, so I learned some Latin. I could play reggae, soca, those are the common genres. Again, as I was saying, country music. I did some tango while I was on the cruise ship. So I could play a lot of different music, but I love jazz and gospel. Jazz, gospel, R&B. Those are my favorite.
As we bring this interview to an end, tell me, what would be your dream for your future if you didn't have to be an IT professional?
Oh, my dream is very clear cut. I would love to be a jazz instructor at one of the universities in Trinidad. I will never forget the late Dave Maslin. He was a jazz pianist, brilliant guy. He went away, came back, and he was doing some workshops at UTT. And I was that was a period of my life I was so excited because there was somebody there who plays jazz, who could mentor and give me that hands-on experience. And I love that. And now that he's gone, now we have a lot of pianists in Trinidad and we have decent guys. But I we have very few fully guys who are full into jazz, the bebop language, who could speak it like that. We have some horn players that could do it, but pianists, not so many. So I think I want to be that person for the young pianists or the young jazz musicians in Trinidad. I know we have guys like Anthony Woodruff, who's there at UTT, who's, really doing great work with the young guys. Um, but when it comes to jazz piano, I want to be a mentor. So I told myself, I don't know, maybe in the next 10 years, when I come out to the IT or before, and I could practice that, I would end my days as an instructor, just like Barry Harris did. Barry Harris traveled the world, a legend, teaching jazz theory to people, and that's what I want to be. I want to be a jazz piano mentor for the young generation in Trinidad.
And what are you doing about jazz now?
I am listening to a lot of it. I paid for a course online, one of those online remote courses. I downloaded all the material. And so I'm slowly reading. I have a lot of material saved on a playlist in YouTube, just waiting to get some time to sit down and practice it. I'm in the arena. I lime around jazz people. And I again, as I say, I'm always my diet of music is primarily jazz and gospel. So I'm working slowly to build myself to be that person. So when the time comes, I am ready. Oh yeah, and I'm saving up for a grand piano. I think once you have a grand piano, it just inspires you to play better. So
Lovely,
that's me there.
lovely. And I thought I heard that you were arranging a jazz concert.
I am on a committee, the I Am Jazz committee. So yes, there's a big jazz concert coming up on April 20th. That's Easter Sunday. It's its fifth iteration. And it's a wonderful cast. We have people, international people from Panama. We have the Indian soca community. We have our young jazz musicians. We have soca artists. We have, I don't want to say too much, but we have a really good lineup. And in terms of the experience, we have partnered with a lot of people and investors. So it's going to be a different experience from average jazz festival go to, from the decorations, the lighting, to how you are served, to the different areas. It's going to be a one-time experience. So I would say I am Jazz on Lime.
Thank you ever so much, Rodney. Thank you for being with us. All the best.
Thank you.